I went out to a ranch.
Hello.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season and are staying healthy in the new year. AFCEA thanks you for attending today's luncheon, but a special thank you goes to our luncheon sponsors, Definitive Logic, Deloitte, Segway Technologies, a Tetra Tech company, Array, Cloud Lake, and Akama company, Macalogic, Insperity, and PE Systems. Without our sponsors, we would not be able to provide STEM scholarships and educational materials for our youth. I would like to mention some upcoming events. Yvonne, will you go to the events page, please? Our emerging leaders have an event featuring Dave Judson next week on January 26th at the Wandering Griffin. Upcoming luncheons featuring Colonel Scott Heathman, the Vice Commander of the 18th Air Force at Scott Air Force Base in February, a small business panel in March, and in April we will have a hybrid event with folks from Hangar 18, the software factory located right here in Dayton, Ohio. Later in the year, we will have our annual golf outing, casino night, and Wright IT Summit. If you're interested in sponsoring any of these events, please reach out. Please register on our website and like our LinkedIn page to get all of our updates on what's happening in our chapter. I will now turn the floor over to our Regional Vice President, David Hart, for installation of our 2022 officers.
Thank you, Joni. It's my honor to install our incoming 2022 chapter officers. One of the most interesting, challenging, and rewarding experiences in our industry is the assumption of a volunteer leadership role in a professional association like AFCEA in service to the nation. It provides an effective venue for others to serve to the benefit of a larger community and purpose. AFCEA brings together government, military, industry, and academia, maintaining communities to exchange ideas, skills, and requirements for personal growth and to strengthen our nation. To fulfill its purpose, AFCEA needs dedicated, conscientious, and professional leaders. Our association calls upon men and women of the highest ethical standards, professional skills, and human understanding. Their awareness of the greater opportunities of their country holds for its entire people is the reason for their service in this chapter. During the past year, you've been fortunate to have such leadership. I would like you to join me in honoring our outgoing officers, Mo Wheeler, Andy Higgins, and Bill McGuffey. Thank you for your service. Now, will the president and the new officers please join me? Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I do affirm that I will support the standards of conduct and the objectives of AFCEA International.
That I will support the standards of conduct and the objectives of AFCEA International.
And that I will serve the chapter.
That I will serve the chapter.
And its members.
And its members.
To the best of my abilities.
To the best of my abilities.
Thank you, chapter president and officers. I know that you'll do well and serve your nation and your peers. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, David. We appreciate your leadership, David, as the regional vice president. And I just wanted to go over some of the things that we've done in the last year. This graphic kind of gives an overall highlight of what our chapter was able to perform in 2021. Even with the difficulties and the challenges that we faced in a COVID world, we were still able to make a huge impact to our chapter this year. We had like a banner year of being able to give back to the community in terms of scholarships, grants, as well as some charitable donations. We did several charity volunteer events that we're hoping to continue the momentum for this year. We had significant growth in membership. We had quite a few events, both hybrid and in person, to as well as a Wright IC Summit that was hybrid, that included a golf outing before and a casino night after. That was just fantastic. I hope to continue this momentum into 2022 and hope to have more participants and more members participating to make this an even better year. So thank you very much. I'm very honored to be your chapter president, and looking forward to this next presentation of our speakers. Thank you.
Thanks, Yvonne. I'd now like to introduce our distinguished guests for today. Our first speaker, Colonel Dominic Fago, is the 178th Wing Commander. As the commander, he executes the remotely piloted aircraft MQ-9 Reaper mission. In addition, he is responsible for the 178th Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance Group mission, which involves close coordination with the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. Colonel Dominic Fago was formerly the commander of the 179th Airlift Wing Maintenance Group, Ohio National Guard, Mansfield, Ohio, and was responsible for the generation of safe, reliable C-130H aircraft and the airmen to execute the wing's global airlift and combat missions. He also served as the commander of the 123rd Air Control Squadron in Cincinnati, Ohio, and was responsible for the day-to-day operations of the unit. He was a member of the 123rd ACS for 33 years, 24 years as the drill status guardsman, initially enlisting as a radar maintenance technician in 1992. He was selected for an officer position and commissioned through the Academy of Military Science. He attended Air Battle Manager training and became a member of the Operations Section, where he held multiple positions, eventually ascending to the position of director. In 2009, he was selected as the Chief of Maintenance and held the position for 2 years. In 2011, he was hired as the detachment commander responsible for all aspects of the mission and 40 full-time personnel in 2017. He was chosen to be the commander of the 123rd ACS. He deployed on 8 occasions in support of Operation Southern Watch, Noble Eagle, Iraqi Freedom, Enduring Freedom, Inherent Resolve, Resolute Support, and the air defense of the Arabian Gulf. Additionally, he has deployed as part of the AFCOM traveling contact team and multiple drug interdiction assignments. Once Colonel Fago is finished, we will hear from Colonel Francisco Dominguez, who is the commander of the 251st Cyberspace Engineering Installation Group, Ohio National Guard, Springfield Beckley Air National Guard Base, Springfield, Ohio. The group is comprised of more than 900 airmen and 8 squadrons across 6 states. Colonel Dominguez ensures the readiness and employment of airmen to engineer, build, operate, secure, defend, and extend classified and unclassified networks through the employment of engineering and expeditionary capabilities. He delivers secure cyber infrastructures in garrison and deployed environments, directing the training, mobilization, and deployment of airmen, communications, and computer systems to enable the cyberspace capabilities of combat commanders, Joint Task Force, and Air Force Component Headquarters operations. Colonel Dominguez enlisted in the United States Air Force in December of 1983 and transitioned to the Texas Air National Guard in 1988. He was commissioned through the Academy of Military Science in 1996 after receiving his degree in electrical engineering from the University of Houston. His deployed assignments include engineering installation, forward element chief in Iraq, and deputy commander for EI forces, Task Force Signal, U.S. Forces, Afghanistan during Operation Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom, respectively. Additionally, he led EI forces during the resolution of the Western Launch and Test Range System and the Joint Space Operations Center at Vandenberg Air Force Base, California. Colonel Dominguez has held several various civilian roles during his time as traditional Air National Guardsman, including systems and services engineering, project management, and worldwide program management. Prior to his current assignment, the colonel was deputy commander of 251 CEIG. Please enter your questions into the chat box, and if time allows, we will address those at the end of today's luncheon. Now I will hand the floor over to you, Colonel Fago.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for that introduction. Hopefully I'm coming through for an organization that prides itself on cyber capabilities. We really had to go through a lot just to get in here. So please speak up if you can't hear me. We did a Teams meeting with my organization a few months ago, and I talked for 20 minutes and finally got a text from somebody that says we can't hear you. So please let me know if you lose me. I'm going to try and pull up a presentation here and go through that, and we'll see if my system has the bandwidth to handle that. All right, hopefully you can see that slide. Anyone?
No, sir.
Super. I know what I need to do. How about now?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right, so welcome. My bio was pretty well covered on the intro. I've been here at the 178th Wing for a couple of months now, so I'm certainly not an expert on all the various things we do here, but if you have questions, I'll do my best to answer them as we progress through this. Just to start off with the installation here, we're just a little bit east of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. We have the 178th Wing. Additionally, here we have the what we call GSUs, geographically separated units of the 251st and 269th Combat Comm Squadron. Colonel Dominguez commands those organizations, and he'll be speaking about those organizations following me. Additionally, we have two Army attachments here, the 937th Engineering Battalion, 837th and 371st Sustainment Brigade. So overall, we're sitting on about 150 acres with 39 buildings and about a $280 million value. Not exactly sure how we figure that out, but we have two classified SCIFs that we work out of, the ops group and the intelligence group. And overall, on any given drill weekend, we have about 1,400 air personnel that occupy the space and 400 Army. During the week, as you know, we are a National Guard unit, so most of our members are 1 weekend a month type people. So during the normal work week, we have around 400 people on the installation, with a $61 million budget and estimated $230 million economic impact to the area. Just a quick overview. The wing has 3 distinct operational missions, again, with actually closer to 1,400 members when you include the GSUs. We have the ops group, we have the air control squadron, the ISRG, and the combat comm group. And but we're doing missions all over the world. When I initially joined back in the 80s, the Guard really, we basically trained. We prepared for real world contingencies, and in the late 1990s, after the first Gulf War, with Iraq and Southern Watch, we started doing more and more, starting to deploy. I think I did my first deployment in 1999, and then after 2001, there has not been a day where we've not had somebody overseas or doing an active duty mission. We've been very busy since 2001 supporting the federal mission. But in addition to that, over the past 2 years with COVID, we've been doing a lot with in the state as well. We have about 150 members on orders right now working in hospitals, serving the community. These are intel analysts, comm people, maintainers, that basically were called, and they're going in hospitals and filling in where there's staffing shortages. We've set up some multiple testing sites throughout the state of Ohio that we're working in, and overall, the state of Ohio has activated. I believe the number as of today is around 1,500 soldiers and airmen. So in addition to our federal mission, which we've been very busy with the past 20 plus years, we're getting tapped to do some local missions also. And when we join the Guard, that's one of the things we're aware of is our responsibility, not only to our community, but to our nation. And that's the reason most of us join is to serve. And we're certainly getting that opportunity of late. This is a quick look at our organizational structure. This hasn't been updated. I replaced Colonel Fitzgerald at the top, but it's basically how we're laid out with our different groups and squadrons within the wing directly. The operations group flies the MQ-9, so we have people that are 24/7 flying MQ-9 missions throughout the world. They also have set up to train there as well, and they do some domestic operations with the some recent fires in California, assisting in finding where the hot points are and passing that information on. It's a mission that we're trying to grow. We don't currently have any aircraft here, so we just link in and fly aircraft basically wherever needed. But we're working with Wright-Pat AFRL and some other local contributors to actually bring an MQ-9 in here to the base. We're hoping to do that within the year of flying an MQ-9 in and proving that we can do it and potentially getting a launch and recovery element located here at Springfield. That'd be a huge win for us. Many of you may or may not know that we used to fly the F-16 here. It's been gone, I think, maybe 15 years now. And our maintenance group basically dissolved, and a lot of those folks went into the Intel group. But getting aircraft back here has always been a goal. And hopefully, if we can successfully bring an MQ-9 in and prove that we can launch and recover it from here, it may put us in line for future missions. So that's something where the MQ-9 or the 117 the ops group is working on very diligently to make that happen. The ISRG consists of 4 different squadrons. They all do a little bit different types of intel. I don't have an intel background, so if you have any really deep questions on this, I'm probably going to have to get back to you because I really have just a surface understanding of what they do in the intelligence squadrons. The 124th is a cyber ISR, and it's a little bit different. They're attached to 16th Air Force and fall under Air Combat Command, and they do a lot of just work in cyberspace and cyberspace type intel. The 125th is does the geospatial intelligence mission, and they work more closely with NASIC and Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And then the 126th has been kind of in question. It does a space mission, and with the formation of the Space Force, really this squadron should get attached to the Space Force. There's just been some, currently there is not a Space National Guard. So there's been a lot of debate. If there's going to become a Space National Guard, I suspect the 126 would become part of that. There's also speculation it may just be the Air and Space National Guard, so basically rebrand the Air National Guard, in which case the 126 would remain part of our mission set. But really what they do is exactly what the Space Force does, and they would fit nicely in there. And we're trying to figure out where this organization actually falls into the hierarchy. As of now, it's part of the Air Guard. But I suspect we'll be talking about this for the next couple of years until it's figured out if we're going to have an Air or a Space National Guard, or if we're just going to be the Air and Space National Guard. And 127, finally, the 127th, I think of that as like the traditional airborne elements, like J-stars that pick up ground ground targets and those type of things, only done from space. So it gets feeds from all over, all types of sensors, and we 127th analyzes it and provides intelligence regarding what's going on the ground. I talked a little bit about our COVID response. We have a med group here. Right now, they're extremely busy. Our med group are actually trained medical personnel, so they've been very badly needed since COVID came out, working in hospitals. We have nurses, doctors, med techs, and they've probably been our busiest group as far as COVID response since this happened, since COVID started in, March of 2020 really kicked off. So these folks have been on active duty for quite a while with those responses. When they're not responding to the local response, they're responsible for making sure our air crews and all of our people have medical readiness. As I said, we deploy all over the world, so we have a lot of requirements to maintain medical readiness, and that's their primary mission. However, they've been tapped really heavily for this domestic operations of late. So the med group also has a deployable package, so they can go out and they do deploy to provide medical services in the field. The 123rd Air Control Squadron, I spent a lot of my time in this squadron years ago, but they're located in Blue Ash, Ohio. They're part of the wing. They report to us, but they're truly a geographically separated unit. There's about 200 personnel there, and they do tactical air command and control. I deployed on 8 separate occasions with this unit. It deploys a lot. The main function is to deploy close to where the fight is. So they go all over the Middle East. They set up radio sites and radars and control the entire airspace with this mobile equipment. So they've been extremely busy the last 20 years, especially since 9/11. A lot of deployments, typically 6 months at a time, somewhere in the Middle East. Usually when they go, they break into smaller elements and set up sites really throughout all the countries over there. With changes in technology, though, it's gotten a little better a little more centralized. I don't know about better, but the main controlling element used to have to be relatively close to the sensors and the radios. For instance, when the Iraq War first kicked off in 2003, I went into northern Iraq with this unit, and we set up radio and radar sites. And just to cover the country of Iraq, there were 5 units, 4 U.S. and 1 British unit that were needed to cover the entire country and control that air war at really a relatively slow time in the air war. And you fast forward to today, the entire controlling element is done with 1 squadron, and is done from the United States. And the actual sensors and radios, they still need to be out there close to the fight. But rather than having in 2003 about 3,000 personnel doing this mission, it's down to about 300 people with greater capacity due to technology advances. So it's pretty amazing. Just over I've had a relatively long career, but still over a 20-year period, the amount of changes the technology has made to the ability to do more with less has been it's been pretty staggering, especially when it talks about the air control squadron. Our mission support group is as the name indicates, provides support to the entire wing. They have the med group. I'm sorry, not the med group, but the fire, the police, the security forces, our force support squadron that does a lot of our administrative work, all fall within this group. So it's very diverse. It's kind of a catch-all for everything that's not the 4 main missions. They're very vital here in station, but they're also tapped every few years to go overseas and do the mission. Just so happens this is our year to deploy, so we're sending about another 80 folks overseas to do this, some of these force support squadron missions. So in addition to everything else, we're pretty darn busy over here right now, preparing for that. The Force Support Squadron, I touched on that briefly, provides installation support to us, provides meals, has our recruiting section in it. They have our, overall, it takes care of most of the administrative things, such as fitness testing, things like that, fall under our Force Support Squadron. Security Forces Squadron's been another extremely busy organization. They've been called out for within Ohio. There was some civil unrest. They were called out for that. They've also gone into the prisons when there was too many prison guards out with COVID. They've sent our security forces folks in to work in the prisons. So they've been extremely active. They also deploy overseas. So within this group, it's another highly tasked organization within our organization. The fire department used to have a very large fire department here when we were flying jets. Once the iron went away, the need for a huge fire department wasn't here anymore. So we still maintain a drill status guardsman fire department. Largely, those are the 1 weekend a month folks. And they've gotten into a lot of those things like the swift water rescue and other things like that they train for. As I mentioned earlier with the ops group, if we do get some iron in here, the MQ-9 or some other form of RPA, I suspect our fire department full-time force will grow a little bit too, because there's a much larger need for crash and recovery and those type of things. The LRS is another squadron that's critical to our operation. They provide us with all of our gear, keep us equipped, and all the logistical matters. They're extremely busy with whenever we have deployments of equipping everybody and working through that. And then we have a comm flight. These are the same folks that Colonel Dominguez, similar AFCEAs to what Colonel Dominguez has over in his group. We just, our folks do base communications, taking care of the computers, the internet, making it so I can't get on a Teams meeting from my government computer, but I'm here on my iPad. But so we're secure. We're just not, we're not easy to work with people outside of the government, but they do a great job of keeping our equipment, all of our computers and communications equipment on base up to speed. So that basically sums up everything with the 178th Wing proper. I'll leave the 251st and 269th information up to Frank in a minute here. Unfortunately, with Teams meetings, I'm not a. It's tough. It's much easier when you're within a crowd to get feedback and talk and know that my radio is working. But hopefully, you guys can follow me. And I don't see if there's any questions or if we're going to wait till the end. But if not, I'm ready to hand it off to Frank there.
Great, thank you, sir. We're going to turn the floor over to Colonel Dominguez.
All right. All right, good afternoon. I'm Dayton Wright AFCEA chapter. Hopefully you guys can see me here. Position this a little bit better. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate your shout out. Nick Fago's team and my team are very close partners in everything we do. Can you guys hear me? If you can't, please let me know. All right. So talk a little bit about how do I advance these slides? Okay. All right. Here we go. Yeah. So just a little bit I want to talk about. Give you an idea of what the Air National Guard EI mission is of our group. And really an expeditionary comm mission. what we're doing worldwide, what we're up to in Ohio, and then any questions that might come up. Next. So as part of our EI group mission, we do have UTCs like you would have in any squadron, teams that make up our mission. And the top two clusters there kind of outline what our teams look like. We do have 8 squadrons in our group. 7 of those squadrons are EI squadrons. One of them is a combat comm squadron. So the combat comm squadron, the 269th Combat Comm, sits with us, co-located at the Springfield Beckley military complex. The other squadron we have in Ohio, the E&I squadron, sits out in Zanesville, Ohio. And then we've got squadrons in Minnesota, Utah, Oklahoma, Texas, and Louisiana. But from a group perspective, we're a little different than most groups. We've got about 38 folks that make up our UTCs. Most of our members are in the 6KMM9 UTC up there on top. And we basically deploy to support Air Force staffs out at the MAJCOM and COCOM level whenever we're activated. Our primary area of responsibility is USAFE, so we do quite a lot of work with them year round. We support several exercises when they've got exercises going. We've got Blue Flag, Austere Challenge. There are several other minor ones. Our combat comm team goes out there quite a bit as well, the 269th, to support exercises. We also help with other COCOM readiness as tasked by commanders. Right now, we've got a very big effort that we're building in USAFE with the European Defense Initiative. The PACAF Theater is also asking us to kind of outline a similar support role for them. We expect we'll have I don't know if it'll be called PACAF Defense Initiative, but we'll have something along those lines here within probably this next fiscal year. Our next UTCs are more technical, and they are responsible for C4I systems planning, the integration of the expeditionary comm forces into a theater, the transition of those expeditionary comm forces from combat comm and their containerized comm network setup to whatever that location will need, from a fixed and more permanent, more structured, more durable comm presence through the use of engineering and installation forces. We've got quite a lot of tasks that we get called to support, and we manage those. We've got an RFF, Request for Forces task, that we are currently within, supporting Africa. We've been there since 2018, but we just finished our relationship with the folks out at CENTCOM with an Iraq RFF, and prior to that, we had an Afghanistan RFF. Besides our UTCs, the other role that the group plays is in supporting the MAJCOMs that own our organized training equip efforts. So we reach out to our 8 aligned squadrons on behalf of NGB and also ACC, and provide whatever actions are required at the squadron level to meet guidance and policy, including working groups and councils and other efforts to realign our forces to the next priority. Currently, we're doing quite a lot to implement the new way of the forward location movement, agile combat employment. So we've got equipment upgrades, we've got TTP changes, we've got exercises that we need to roll out to test our new TTPs, etc. We also help with staff visits with our squadrons and helping to professionalize the force. I mentioned TTPs. We also help make sure that the schoolhouse is properly utilized to meet our UTC demands. And we've got a significant number of other submissions that we support through project management. Aside from that, we've got the state mission, that's the domestic operations, and we receive taskings for that mission from the Ohio JOC, much like we received the Ohio Hospitals COVID mission. We also support the NGB CAT and the ACC CAT. Next slide. All right, so what are we up to worldwide? As the 178th mentioned, they're getting ready to head out for their rotation. We've had a steady state AFCENT AEF rotation since 2001. Currently, it's made up of 2 EI squadrons providing about 35 packs, and that rotation ends, it rotates out every 6 months. So we'll have another 2 EI squadrons provide that 35 packs. And we've got the RFF that I mentioned at Africa, which provides another 35 packs on 6-month rotations. We've got the USAFE EDI, both from an exercise and an EI project ready rotation. So we've got the 269th going out this spring to help with exercise support. USAFE has exercises that go on all across the theater, and the combat comm squadrons that are tasked for the rotation support those exercises. We've got 8 folks that are out there helping prepare projects within USAFE, and when those projects are ready, meaning they've got the funding, they've got the preparatory support, we call allied support, construction, other preparations for comm and cyber and materials, then we send out a project team. So we'll have at least 5 projects happening in USAFE this year, potentially up to 9. As you can imagine, some of the political posturing that's happening right now in USAFE, Eastern Europe, is causing a lot of activity, a lot of preparation of infrastructure for surge capacity. So we're kind of busy with that as well. And we've got a number of contingency locations that we're looking to warm up to prepare for future contingencies. Aside from that, we have about 100 folks that are supporting Title 10 and Title 32 missions across the missions that we've got there: ADCALS upgrades, DCGS upgrades, building SCIFs, supporting DISA. CVC is the mapping of the Air Force infrastructure base maps, automating those into a new system that makes them more available worldwide. And then, of course, some support to the White House Comm Agency. So those efforts that we're up to worldwide include our 8 squadrons, include our group staff, the group staff of the partner, the sister group in Otis Air National Guard base out in Massachusetts, and another 8 squadrons that are aligned to that group. So in total, we have 15 squadrons in the Air National Guard E&I mission, and there are 15 combat comm squadrons in the Air National Guard as well. We have just 1 in our group. Next slide. So what are we up to in Ohio? Let's see if this paints here. Okay, it's not painting, but as Nick mentioned, we are deep into COVID-19 operations, supporting Governor DeWine's call up. We've got airmen from our group, about 37 airmen from the 251st EI group, the 269th next door, and the E&I squadron, the 220th down the road. Supporting the hospital mission, we've got folks in each of the regions, so that's Dayton, Cincinnati, Columbus, Toledo, Cleveland. And the missions that we're doing with the hospitals include the 5 functional areas that you have there, including COVID testing, transport of patients, nutrition, environmental, which is mostly cleaning up areas, logistics, resupplying different areas of the hospital, and administration. I myself am out at the Miami Valley Hospital with a couple of my chiefs and my chaplain and other airmen from my group. And my personal mission is part of the nutrition mission, which is incredibly important. It's a lot. There's a lot to feeding patients in a hospital than I expected. It's a complicated environment. It's not very difficult, but it is complex. And we are there until Ohio hospitals have enough folks back from COVID get their staffing levels back up, and then we'll rotate out and pick back up where we left off. And that includes a partnership exercise we've going on this spring called Low Diffuser out with Hungary. There are 2 partnership countries for us. Hungary is one of them, Serbia is the other. And what we do is help them with their training missions. Finally, we also get a fair amount of activity call up with the hurricane season down in the Gulf Coast and in the Caribbean. And beyond that, we've had support for presidential inauguration last year. And we do a yearly support for the Air Force Marathon in partnership with the 88 Com Squadron, and exercise supporting the 123rd Air Control Squadron down in Blue Ash. So it's quite a busy mission for Air National Guard. Next. So talk a little bit about ops tempo. How does that happen? At the group, we've got about 12 folks that are full-time, and in each one of our 8 squadrons, we've got about 12 folks that are full-time. So it's not being done by a full-time force. It's being done by a drill status guardsman force, airmen that are out in the community or in college or running their own business or whatever their life may have them do, and they put a uniform on and they come out and do missions for the Air National Guard. And what I've got there is the last typical year. FY 2018 is a very typical year, and you'll see those spikes there, those 3 larger spikes. It kind of represents the rotations of the units in the bucket for AEF and F Africa. And then all the other units show different varying spikes of different color combinations. And that includes days that we get from the National Guard Bureau, days that we get from ACC, days that we get to support our deployment. So on average, an Air National Guardsman in this mission will perform about 73 days a year. And that's above and beyond the 39 days that you would expect as a traditional guardsman for the 15-day annual training and the 2 days a month for weekend drill. So it's about close to 100 days per guardsman that they're committing to their mission, to our Air National Guard Expeditionary Comm mission. Next slide. So a little bit of a map here. Once it paints, it shows where our locations are. The dots that are in red are from the 253rd EI group out at Cape Cod. The dots that are blue are the units that are aligned with the group here, the 251st that I command. The 2 yellow dots are the only 2 regular Air Force missions. In E&I, you've got the 38th E&I group out of Tinker, which is sunsetting. And you've got the 85th E&I squadron out of Keesler. They have recently rotated out from under the 38th EI group over to the 5th Combat Comm group out of Georgia. So it's a predominantly Air National Guard mission on both the E&I and Combat Comm side. Next slide. And because we do quite a lot of work, we submit as much as possible for recognition for our airmen. And we've been fairly successful here at the 251st. A list of our accomplishments, including our most recent win of the Major General McClellan Award in 2019 for Best Large Comm Organization in the Air Force. And that win was for the regular Air Force, the Air Force Reserve, and the Air National Guard. So it was a total force win. But beyond that, we've won that award 10 separate times at the National Guard level. So very proud of our airmen. They do quite a lot for our mission, federal mission, for our state missions, for different mission, different weapon systems. And it's a very satisfying mission, but it'll grow. Ohio, if you're not aware, was recently awarded the next Air National Guard cyber warfare mission, and that'll happen at the 179th in Mansfield, Ohio, up towards Cleveland. They currently fly C-130s. They'll be rotating those C-130s out beginning this fiscal year, and we'll start the 5 to 10 year process of converting that airlift mission to a cyber warfare mission. Given that we've got the predominance of the cyber and comm AFSCs in my group, we expect we'll be seeding the 179th with leaders for the next few years. So we're looking for constant supply of cyber warriors to come and do comm and cyber at the EI group, the EI squadron, and the combat comm squadron. So that's about all I have. If we can go over, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, I appreciate the time here with the Dayton Wright chapter and appreciate the invitation from Yvonne and Joni.
If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll continue moving on, but we will address the questions if there are any. I would like to thank our distinguished guests, Colonel Dominic Fago and Col Frank Dominguez, for kicking off our 2022 Luncheon series. We're very honored to have had you speak today, and congratulations to all of our incoming officers. I look forward to 2022 with all of you. But as a reminder to all of our folks in industry and government, previous luncheons and other events are recorded and on our YouTube channel. If you go out to our website under events and scroll to the bottom, you will find the link to our channel. And we hope that you will join us for our Emerging Leader event next week and our future luncheons. Do you have any parting words, Yvonne? No? Okay, I'm going to go to the chat session to see, did anyone raise their hand? All right. I don't see any questions in the chat. So with that, I will give you 8 minutes back to your Thursday afternoon. So have a great rest of the week, and thanks for joining us today at Dayton Wright AFCEA.